Gilbert. I want to welcome you to my live call, Language and Words. And for those of you that do not know me, I've been involved in network marketing for over 40 years. I share a lot of what I've learned in my journey on these calls. So here's the thing. When we think about words that we use, and that's the title of this, I was just thinking about it today, just working out here in the gym, and I was thinking about language and words. And it's very powerful when you think about it. Because have you ever offended people and you never intended to offend them at all? It was just you're trying to convey an emotion or just something that Leah from, was it Leah from Brazil? Nice to see you. But you're trying to convey a feeling or express something, but it just came out wrong because of the word you chose. Has anybody ever gone through that? If you've gone through that, you can acknowledge it in the comments if you want to, but it's really true in network marketing, because when we think about it, when it comes to prospecting, the very first step in prospecting is what? It's the invitation, right? Remember how I've likened it to baseball, and first base is the invitation, second base is prospecting, that is sending them a video or you invite them to a meeting. Third base is the follow-up. If they have questions, we answer their questions, and then we bring them home. We ask them to join, to get involved either as a customer or as a member of your team. So, but the very first base, just forget about base 2, 3, and home, right? The very first base is the invitation. But that seems to be the one where a lot of people out there have problems with it. And it's all in the invitation. It's all in the words that we use. And sometimes we use some very stupid words. Very stupid words. I didn't say you did that. I said sometimes we do that. I have to drink some water because I was on that treadmill running and I was sitting in a sauna. All right. So would it surprise you, though, to know that people are actually very interested in your opportunity? They're actually very interested in your product. But what screws it up is the words we use, the language, and then they get the wrong mental image of what you're talking about. You know, some words have been stigmatized into, you know, negative definitions, either by the media or by stories they've heard, maybe by personal experiences that they had. And so, nice to see you, V. And so the thing about it is, we have to pay attention to the language we use. And you've heard me say this, maybe you haven't. The more you talk, the less you make. The more you talk, the less you make. Sometimes we feel like if we can overpower them with a lot of words, they gotta join. They gotta join. To get rid of me, they got to join. If they want me to shut up, they got to join. It doesn't work, does it? Because a lot of times they'll say, well, let me think about it. And you're like, what? I just did an incredible presentation. We just use too many words. Too many words. But let's talk about, though, how to overcome those words that we use that we shouldn't use. And then words that we can use that can keep us honest in our presentations when we talk about our opportunity. Because there's a lot of people that just will say just about anything just to get them to join. Get them to believe anything just to get them to join. Would you really want that person? I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Because all they're going to do is bellyache and remind you it wasn't what you said it was. Of course, like I said, you wouldn't say that, would you? But I'm just saying people do it all the time in this business. The best thing to do is to do the invitation right. And I'm not going to go over every word, that you shouldn't use. Matter of fact, if you can think of any in your comments, feel free to drop it. Angela in Oklahoma, nice to see you. If you can if you can think of any, you can drop it in your comments, and that would be nice to hear. If it's a word that sort of annoys you, that you hear used too much in the network marketing profession. So the thing about it is, if we pay attention to that language and then understand that people understand things differently. And when we use, for example, when we use words and expressions that people are not familiar with, sometimes it makes our business look complicated. For example, the expression downline. If we use the word downline, I'll talk about that in a minute. Sometimes people, they get the wrong impression, of what we're really talking about. Or if you say marketing, if you say network marketing, sometimes to new people, they hear the word marketing and it just sounds complicated, like they have to have a specialized education, So the thing about it is, let's talk about a few expressions. Now, here's one that's always overused. I have an opportunity for you. I have an opportunity for you. People use that word opportunity. I mean, it's like, I don't know, it's like they're programmed that when they hear the word opportunity, something goes up their nervous system. But I don't know why people just continue to overuse that word. So the thing about it is, if it's a warm market person, they're probably thinking, wait a second, I grew up with you, I know you, and you never knew an opportunity when you saw one, if you ever did see one. You know the old expression, familiarity breeds contempt, is really true. So the thing is, sometimes by using that word to our warm market people, they're like, I don't think you know an opportunity. You're not really qualified. So we can replace that. We can replace using that word, again, by playing it down, not playing it up, but replace it with, I don't know if you can use some extra money. I decided to create a second income for my family that's given me some extra money to be able to buy and afford some things that previously my job didn't allow. I don't know if you can use something like that. If you can, I'd be glad to share it with you. And if you're not interested, that's cool. And you give them a way out. You give them a way out. Instead of saying, I've got an opportunity for you. So if we play it down by what it's done for us, and again, you don't have to have made a lot of money. We're talking about additional money you've made outside of your job and what it's done for your family. And that's being honest, and that's what you want to be. And if you come across that way, you're going to be far more believable than trying to play it up that they're going to make something that they don't believe they're going to make, So here's the second one. I just took some quick notes while I was in the gym. And this is another overused word. I get nauseated when I hear this word, and it's ground floor opportunity. Ground floor opportunity. So, it really doesn't matter whether it's warm market or cold market. Basically, ground floor opportunity generally translates to a person, hey, I want to experiment on you and see if this is going to work. Got a ground floor opportunity for you. And they're thinking, you want to experiment on me and see if it's going to work? I don't think so. Here's the thing, friends. And if they got any experience in network marketing, or if they've heard about people who got in these great ground floor opportunities, I'm going to tell you the truth about ground floor opportunities. Rarely do they ever get off the ground. I know. I was in several of them. Before my last company I joined 21 years ago, I was in several before that. I was the top distributor in companies that no longer exist. I got pins and awards and, glory that no one remembers. Woo! Okay, so much for the ground floor opportunity. And I tell you what, after I went through enough of these great ground floor opportunities, I told all my friends that, in network marketing back then, I said, if you call me about another ground floor opportunity, man, you're not going to like what's going to happen to you. Okay? So the thing about it is, that is a overused word. And if we use the word ground floor opportunity, don't be surprised if they run from you, or they don't take your calls anymore and they unfriend you in Facebook. The ultimate punishment. So don't use that word. Don't use ground floor. You can replace that with, just again, play it low. Don't play it up. Hey, I found something I think is worthwhile. Make some worthwhile income. It's a niche product. The timing is good. I thought about you. Are you open to looking at it? Now, the great thing about that is you're not making any promises, because you don't know. If it is a startup company, you don't know if that company is going to be around 3 months, 6 months, a few years later. Many companies have disappeared. Many companies. So the thing, even companies that did great. Who remembers Monavie? You remember Monavie? I mean, that company went up like a rocket. I mean, I don't know how many hundreds of millions of dollars it was doing. It was crazy. Doing great. Where is it today? Gone. I can think of a whole, several companies. You probably can too. So the thing about it is, we got to understand, ground floor is only good if you get it off the ground, and very few ever do get off the ground when they launch. They can get some distance, they can get some mileage, and then everybody's saying, hey, whatever happened to that company? Yeah. So play it low without making promises. That way it doesn't come back and bite you in the butt, because your credibility will tank. It will tank. And let me tell you something, your credibility is everything in this business. Because the thing, I've watched these people like grasshoppers. They hop from one company to the next. They get in these ground floor opportunities, bang, goes bust. Then they go to the next one. I know, I was guilty of it, okay? I did that many years ago. And every time that happens, though, your ability to influence people to follow you is diminished. To the point that if it happens too many times, they don't take your phone calls anymore. And so, and actually, I was thinking of some people I know in India. It's that way. Oh my gosh, they have a culture. Not all Indian leaders are that way by any means. I have some great Indian leaders in India, but I can tell you, it's like they're only looking for what's new, and then they're only there for 6 months, and then they're gone. So I'm just saying that don't make the mistake of overpromise and then something like that. Now here's another one. Here's another one that sort of follows along with those words. Pre-launch. That's number 3. Pre-launch. Pre-launch. So this is another overused words, and so basically it conveys the idea or the meaning. The owners don't have enough money to launch the company, so they need your money. I'm telling you, this is what people think. I hate that word, Pre-launch. I never use the word pre-launch. Because that's exactly, it just means, what do you mean pre-launch? I mean, either launch it or you're not going to launch it. What are you going to do with it? And if you're not going to launch it, I mean, why is it pre? Yeah, they're still, oh, you mean they're getting their act together? Oh, okay. So call me when they have their act together. Okay, bye. Click. I'm serious. Years ago, I learned this. Man, I hear the word pre-launch, I'm like, get nauseated. They think that sells it. It doesn't sell it if we use the word pre-launch. And let me tell you, if it's an international market, I recently heard that. I saw this, matter of fact, it was in the Philippines, and it was an American company. I won't say which. But anyway, and a good friend of mine is one of the top leaders in that company. And so that leader and another leader was over there, and those were the very words they used, pre-launch. I'm like, why would you use the word pre-launch? It's because it means that your products are not legally registered. It means your company's not legally registered. So then if I'm a person, as a matter of fact, I had a leader call me from over there that was approached by that company. And he said, look, I've been involved with these pre-launch companies and they don't work. It goes wrong. And one company that leader was in, the government seized the products at the port, and it was a lot of money lost, a lot of money. So the thing about it is, pre-launch simply means we're going to experiment on you, and if you guys can create enough business, then we're going to register the products. No. So stay away from the word pre-launch. I would use, here's the thing, what does that mean? Don't ever go to a country and try to get them interested in your products. Nothing wrong with that. Sure, go. But what I would stay away from is you're not going to help yourself by using the word pre-launch. I've pioneered several Asian countries, and involved in the, just going in there and working hard to get those markets up. But words like pre-launch are never going to help advance your interests. That will only hurt you. Just stay away from that word. And then just say, look, we're looking forward to taking our products and our services to this country. We're excited about it. And so it might take some time. We might run into some challenges. We're ready to meet those challenges. I'm convinced that the people in this country are the right kind of people. Would you agree? Well, yeah, I agree, because I'm one of them. Oh, awesome, man. Awesome. So don't use pre-launch. Now, what about the word distributor? That's another word. Distributor. Now, that word can scare people off, because when they hear the word distributor, they think distribute. And it would suggest selling, right? Selling. And how many people out there like to sell? It absolutely scares most of them to death. Matter of fact, it's almost a near-death experience. And so now, isn't it interesting that those same people that you have them as your friends, I mean, they'll promote anything, right? They love something, they're going to promote it. If it's a guy and it's a football game coming up, watch out. He's going to be promoting his what? His team. If TJ Maxx has a special sale in your city, guess what? You're going to be at the door about the time the truck pulled up to unload the goods, right? And you're going to tell your lady friends, hey, let's go have fun. Anyway, so the thing about it is, but when we think about those same people, when we ask them, hey, why don't you become a distributor in our company? And you have it at, some of it, maybe it's at the top of your applications, maybe it's in your website, how to become a distributor of your company. So the thing about it is, just understand that when you ask somebody to become a distributor, many times that's what it conveys. Conveys the idea of selling something. Here's the other thing too. It also conveys the idea of inventory product. Having a lot of product on hand, and And then people are thinking, wow, what kind of investment and what is this going to cost me, and things like that. So those are things that you want to keep in mind, is that the words that you use. So replace that. Let's replace that with become a member. You can use this. Why don't you become become a member of our company? Or you can say, I like the, Nerium, Neora, they use the word brand affiliate, brand partners, brand partners. So they call them partners. I like that. Nice words. Some people use the words affiliate. That's fine. I'm just saying, find a word that's comfortable, but I would stay away from the word just because we have to understand a lot of these words were in, go back to the 1960s. They go way back to the 1960s when we actually inventoried product in our home. I can remember doing that back in the 1970s when I used to have a lot of those yellow jugs of aloe vera juice in my house. And that's how we did it back then. We sold down to our distributors and we sold the product. So we used to, matter of fact, in the 1980s, we used to joke about it and say, hey, we ought to have one ranked position called garage qualified, meaning we inventory a lot of products. So again, that's where a lot of these words come from, like distributor. So they just haven't changed it today. And of course, there's a lot of emphasis on selling, but how do we sell product today? We share a link to our page, let them buy, right? We don't inventory products, and we're actually not involved in the transaction of selling them. We're not making deliveries, even though I have a feeling some people would like to see us doing that today. When they try to demonize our business, they say, who's selling the product? They think if you're not a Domino's pizza delivery person, taking the product to the door, you're actually not making a sale at all. Crazy stuff. But stay away from that word. And I find, hey, sometimes why don't you take a membership with our company, get the product at wholesale. Hey, you introduce it to somebody, they purchase, you get paid. It's simple enough. Now, number 8, what about join? Hey, join our company. Join, Join sort of, gives the idea of a commitment. Some people are committed out. So you might want to just, again, substitute it for a word like become a member. Now here's another overused expression. 2 words, big money. Hey, John, I got something. It's going to be big money. We hear that expression, and it's overused. And if they don't say big money, then they might say get rich, something like that. And what's the old saying? If it sounds too good to be true, it's what? It probably is. And that's what we need to do. We need to keep in mind that people cannot imagine more than double what they're making at their job. If a person is making $24,000 a year, they're not going to imagine anything over 50. If it sounds like a scam. So we need to stay away. I remember many times when I traveled, and I remember one time I was at an event on the island of Guam, and I remember at that time the guy got up on the stage, and now we're going to introduce a guy who makes $50,000 a month. This was many years ago, okay? And I told him later, don't do that. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. I said, Jimmy, people can never imagine more than double what they're making at their job. It sounds like a scam. So keep that in mind. That's the thing. So the thing is, we can substitute that instead of saying big money, is that, just substitute it with say, hey, I'm just looking to build, a side gig on the side, a secondary income so I can afford some of the things that I can't afford just with the money I'm making on my job. And maybe that's something that you would be interested in looking at. And if not, that's okay. So keep that in mind. Now, here's the 10th one, and then we're going to call it quits on this. You're going to get out of that job. A lot of times we assume that people want to get out of their job. I remember saying that, making that mistake back in the 1980s. I said that to a man. I said, hey, when you see this and you see the money that's going to be made here, you're going to get out of that job you're doing. Well, he was offended. Because why? He liked his job. He enjoyed his job. And he doesn't like me telling him that what he's doing isn't good enough. So keep that in mind. When we talk to people, just, I always tell people, listen, I don't want them to get the wrong impression. Because many times people are thinking that they have to give up their job to really be good at this. I say, hey, you work this at your pace. I used to say work this at your leisure. I don't like that word. Again, it's the words we use, right? Leisure is sort of, whenever you can get to it. It's sort of lazy. I just say work it at your pace, whatever you're comfortable with. And then you decide later on how involved you want to be or how far you want to take it. And when we do it that way, then we take the stress off them feeling like they've got to prove something to us or they got to do something they're not comfortable in doing. So again, the words that we use, what a difference it makes. And keep in mind, in the invitation, that is so important that we stay away from some of those words that people commonly use today. Ground floor opportunity. Or here's one, and I forgot about it. I don't know how I didn't cover that one. What was the one? There I go. I'm having a senior moment. Okay. The other word was, that's right, I missed that one. And that was the word, why don't you come to our meeting? Bingo. That was another word you don't want to use. Hey, John. Hey, man. Something's happening this weekend. Something I'm involved in. I want you to come to a meeting. John's thinking, meeting? Meeting sounds serious. Meeting? Who am I meeting with? Maybe I don't want to meet with these people. What's a better word to use? If you have an event going on in your town, in your city, or if it's even an online something you want them to see, maybe it could be a Zoom call. I don't know, anything like that. Instead of using the word meeting, use the word event. Hey, John, we have a special event going on this Saturday. You know what? I'm only allowed to have a couple of seats. I've got 4, but I want to save one for you, John. I mean, you're special, man. I really think you would enjoy this event. Well, what's it about? Well, here's the thing. It's about a business, but I'm not really qualified to explain it so well. But it's just a side gig. I think it's something that, I don't know, maybe it's something that you would have, additional income. I don't know that you can use additional income, can you? Oh, yeah? Yeah, sure. Well, great. So it won't disrupt what you're doing with your life or family, but just take a little time out, come and see what it's about. Maybe it's for you, and you can make some side money. So use the word event instead of meeting. And I think you'll have more success with that. That's another overused word in network marketing. I don't know how I missed that one. Let me see, make sure. Oh, yeah. A couple other things I want to say. See, I wrote this down and then I forgot. Okay. Expressions like downline, that can be something else we don't use. Downline. For example, to a new person, they hear the first word down in the line, right? Downline. It's confusing. Replace it with network. Network. People in my network. For example, I introduced the product to a few people, and today I have 100 people in my network that I earn residual income from. The other thing is, if you live, I've had some people in some countries, they say, hey, in our country, network marketing is an overused word. It's overused. People are, they get nauseated when they hear it. Okay, fine. Then use the word social networking. You can use that word, that expression. If you have something else you want to use, fine. But But the fact of the matter is, it's really true. That's what we have evolved in. We went from multi-level marketing in the 60s and 70s, and then in the late 80s, with the advent of the internet, it then evolved into network marketing. For the first time, we could share information globally without having to mail anything. And then, of course, with Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all these different platforms, TikTok, hey, I'm still working on that one. I don't know that I'm a TikTok person. You might be, that's great. But my 11-year-old, he said that to me yesterday. He said, Daddy, Facebook is for old people. And I said, well, then what should I be using? He said, Facebook. Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you. All right. So going back to what you say, if you don't want to use the word networking and they ask you what you do, you could say social networking. And they say, well, what do you mean? Well, are you in Facebook and Instagram? Yeah. So am I. The difference is I get paid on it and you don't. But if you'd like to know how to, and you want me to share that with you, I'd be glad to. And that's the way I would handle that. Just a different way of doing it. I mean, myself, in the United States, I don't have a problem telling people I'm in network marketing. Not at all. Not at all. So, but, again, I understand that they have different ideas about what that means. So try to change these words, use these words in a way that you can convey the concept of what we do, not the details. Not the details. And I'll say it with this, and then we'll close the call. But I can remember that I shared this with you before on a previous call, but it's worth sharing now since it's the context of what I'm talking about. Now, remember I was in a lounge one night watching a ball game after I did a meeting. And, see, I use the word meeting. It was an event. There we go. But we all know what we're talking about. Anyway, so we're watching the ball game, and during the commercial break, I start talking to 3 or 4 corporate people. And I asked him, I said, so what do you do? And then he tells me what he does. And another guy, what do you do? And he tells me what he does. Another guy, yeah, I work for this company. I fly up here, every week and all that. Sometimes I have to miss my son's ball game, blah, blah, blah. And then the other guy, yeah, I've been working with this company 22 years, blah, blah, blah. All right, then finally, then they do what? Then they say to me, what do you do? Now, there's a number of ways you can handle this, right? But see, I do the Forrest Gump approach. And that is, I dumb down it. I dumb down it. Okay? When you dumb down it, then they start, of course, they're sophisticated people, right? They're going to appreciate it better than me. And so instead of saying, oh, I'm involved in network marketing, I have a downline, we have a great compensation plan that pays out, blah, 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 and that's what a lot of people do. They'll just put it out there and then people are running because it's the words we use, right? And so so when they ask me, what do you do? I said to them, well, it's like this. I was introduced to a product that I liked very much. And then I found out I could become a member, just enroll online, and I could get it at wholesale instead of pay retail. It made sense to me. And then they said, hey, if you introduce it to anybody, whoever you introduce it to, you can get paid on their orders. I said, really? Yeah. And if they introduce it to anybody, you get paid on their orders too. I said, wow, okay. So here's what I did. I introduced it to 72 people at my pace. I introduced it to 72 in 2 years. And ever since then, I've never needed a job. It's just residual income. And they all looked at me shocked. You know, like a deer when it sees the headlights? It was like that. They were shocked. Now, notice, I never used the word network marketing. I didn't even name my company. I didn't even name my product. And I did not say how much money I make. All I said was, ever since then, I've never needed a job. Now, you might rephrase that to say, since I started back then, I now have some very solid residual income coming in. Or I have enough residual income coming in that it's allowed me to buy a boat on the side, outside of my job, the income I'm making. You can come up with whatever expressions you want, but that's the expression I'm comfortable with, that ever since then, I've never needed a job. And I'll tell you what, it's like I hit my Forrest Gump button when I get around people. So, but again, I don't say how much money I make. So whether, they don't know whether I'm making a lot or a little. Do I live on $20,000 a year? Or do I live on more than that? They don't know. They don't care. They love the concept. And and that's what I'm saying. People will they love your opportunity. They will love it. It's just the words that we use that get in the way. And we got to learn the right kind of language. And so use the words the right way. And that's what I'm saying. I stay away from a lot of these words that have been stigmatized, like network marketing, even though I still do use it. But I don't use it all the time. It just depends on the setting. I go by my instincts, what my gut feel is. And usually it's at that time. And in the case with these guys, I thought, okay, I'm going to explain the concept. And that's what I love doing. I love, just getting the concept across. The idea of creating residual income while you're off doing whatever, and people that you introduced your products and services to, and whoever they introduced it to, and you're getting paid on these people. And isn't that cool? And where can this go? How far can it go? Well, like I said to them, I said, ever since then, I've never needed a job. So I left it wide open, curious. And so try using, again, I can't give you an exact script because all of you are different in different countries. You got different circles, but I think, again, the words I suggested will be useful to you. The concept of getting your business across to them in a way that doesn't trigger scam, doesn't trigger pyramid scheme, it doesn't trigger words that have been stigmatized, things like that. Those kind of words it'll help you with. So anyway, I hope everyone has a great week. It's a Monday. So what are you going to do with this week? Think about it tonight. A lot of people crash land into Monday. So if that happened to you, don't crash land into Tuesday. Start making some notes on people that you need to follow up with. Maybe people you've put off. Maybe it's just some people you just don't, you're not comfortable getting back to. I want you to break out of your comfort zone and do it. But have the attitude that, again, you have what they've been looking for all their life. And I'll tell you what, here's the thing. Understand this. When people don't follow up and they're expecting that person to call them, the person on the other end is wondering, well, what kind of sponsor would this person be? I want to wait and see if they're going to follow me up. And then you could be thinking, wow, I'm waiting for them to call me back. I just want to see how interested they are. Well, it's not going to happen, this conversation. You're going to have to do that. Take that action. Again, show them what kind of sponsor you're going to be. Because if you can't follow them up, how are you going to follow through? And so those are the things. Listen, here's the thing. Don't beat yourself up. We all come in this way. We come in weak. We come in with fear. We come in with uncertainty. We all come in this way. But we can't stay in that state. We got to change that state. And how we do it is by taking action. So make sure you do that. Make those notes tonight. And I'll see you on the next call tomorrow. Oh, by the way, just to let you know, tomorrow night is going to be interesting. I have Gordon Hester that's going to be on my call tomorrow night. I wanted him to join me. He said he would do that. He's a very fascinating man because he's worked with a very prominent network marketing company, and probably and the top leader of that company, who's earned over $100 million in network marketing. But the reason why I want to bring Gordon in is because he works a lot with the DSA, the Direct Sales Association. He also goes around to universities and he gives talks on network marketing. He's a very fascinating guy. Ray Higdon had him on a Facebook Live a few months back. And also when I was at Ray's house when we did that special training for those people who qualified through the March and Dimes. Anyway, Gordon was there as well to share information. So I think you'll find it very interesting what he's got to say, especially with people that have questions about things that they hear with the FTC and products and what network marketing companies need to do today to be compliant. Also, what do leaders need to do to be better at their leadership? So those are important questions and concerns. But anyway, so I hope you can make it. I'll have him on tomorrow. But anyway, thanks for getting on tonight. I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow's call and look forward to it. And then now I'm going to get out of this gym. I'm going to go see my kids. Have a good night.